Yep. Eagles way of boxing. Y'all know what it is. Got to make sure I'm seen and whatever. Make sure I'm heard a little bit. You guys got to hear something. Huh? Sometimes you don't want to hear from me. Huh? Like he's saying too much. That's always been my problem. I don't have a lot of words to say, but sometimes it's too much. Sometimes what you say is just too much. Too much for people to handle. So a lot of times you end up saying too much, but we get through all this. I just like when somebody give me encouragement too, because I'm a type person that's all I seem to do is I just seem to give out like all the encouragement like a person needs, motivation, encouragement. That's what I do. But I never really think about it. Maybe I need that sometimes myself. But sometimes you don't really think like that. When you're a person that gives, you don't think about yourself as much as. Sometimes you wonder. I wonder. I mean, because am I doing something that's really different, odd, or something like that? Because the reciprocation is on a really, really low level. And when I say it's on a really low level, you can basically say non-existent. I'm just saying really, really low level. I was gonna show a little bit of this. I don't want to get in trouble, but I was gonna just show a little bit of this a native fighter that you guys might have heard about. Real controversial guy, and I was gonna show a little bit, just I don't know how to stop it from showing commercials though. That's my whole thing. It's like don't show commercials. I'm gonna have to maybe we'll try. We'll see what it's like. We'll see how many people actually come in. But this chat is just this is for you today. Again, you guys don't get very many. I usually hog the stage. That's my job. And maybe it's a turnoff. Maybe the name itself, the splitting boxing culture. Maybe people don't like that one. It's just that I'm seeing a lot of different attitudes on different, even if small channels, big channels. Just seeing a lot of stuff it's a lot to it. There's a very lot to it. There's a whole lot to it, right? Yeah. There is a lot to it. So that's what it makes it hard, because when it's a lot, then it's hard to come to a point when it's a lot. Because if it's just two sides, because usually it's supposed to be two sides, but in order to get to two sides, you got to take all the other variables and you got to bring all those together. Then you can have the two sides. But other than that, you can't have two sides. Like the two sides, and what is he talking about? What two sides? Yeah, you got one side is truth, and you got one side, this is just a damn lie. And the reason it seems like we're not getting anywhere in boxing, like right now, we're just not getting where we need to get in boxing. The reason we're not is because of one side is just not being honest with the other side. That's more or less what I can say. Is one side is just not being honest with the other side. And if we're going to have that to happen, if one side is not going to be honest with the other side, then how are we to look at it? I'm starting to think that boxing itself, and I'll probably go over it again, because until I see, and maybe when I see a response or so, then I won't cover stuff again. But if I don't see a response, then I have to cover it again. But it's like it's becoming like a wish sport, and it's not. And I'm not going to just say, for the sake of argument, I'm not going to say that boxing is the only sport, but that's the main sport that we talk about when we come in here. We can talk about other sports, but most of the time we talk about boxing. Boxing and more. And adult chat. So for the adults, some of the adults will come in and they will probably recognize what I'm saying, and then they will have their own. They reflect on it their way, which is fine. You always want to reflect on things your way. The way that you want to reflect on it, that's the way you want. Because you might not see somebody else's side of the story. So, but we'll look at it, and I'm not gonna try to make it into like some kind of a scientific process, but I would say that it is on the it's on the verge of a good case study. I can say it that way. It's on the verge of that, because what has to happen is we have to take different points, and then we have to add those points up. Some points will add up to bullshit. Some points will add up to confusion. And then some points will just add up to being undeniable. You see that I have in the middle of the screen there, that's Muhammad Ali. In case you don't know, that's Muhammad Ali. Once considered the greatest, fighter. The greatest of all times. And so when you say greatest of all times only lasted up until maybe a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago. That's when all time ended. And I didn't even read it, so I'll wait for somebody else to report to me. Because I just read what it said. That I just read the heading. Because just that was enough for me. And the heading went something like this: guess who they're calling the greatest of all times now? I don't want to know who they're calling the greatest of all times right now, because that label doesn't belong to anybody else, regardless if you think he was the greatest of all times or not. The title only belongs to him. Just like when it comes to pound for pound. When it comes to pound for pound, it's only one man that can wear pound for pound, regardless if you try to give it to somebody else or not. Regardless if you try to update it and bring it, to somebody else, only one person can be considered the pound for pound. And I'm not going to talk too much because my show is kind of this forum is just more or less my people look at it as being like more of a private, family oriented program. So I'll just wait just a little while because maybe they don't want to deal with family today, which is cool. But we'll see if they want to or not. And then we'll carry on. I got the yawns today. Sometimes I get the yawns about this time of day. I don't know what it was. I get the yawns about this time of day. I don't understand it either. Like, why am I getting the yawns? Certain time of day. I don't yawn all day long, all night. Don't yawn. Then this time of day, I start getting the yawns. It's like, stop with the yawns. Or it might be because I had bread. I better check that out. It might have been because I had bread. Because sometimes certain foods or something you have can affect you a certain way. I don't know. So maybe I'm not a bread person. Maybe bread makes me yawn. And I had the worst bread not the worst bread, but I would say, I don't know if it's high calorie. I don't know. I don't think it really is, but I had, that's probably what it is. I had this heavy raisin cinnamon. I don't know what it's called, but it's called cinnamon swirl bread, but it has raisins in it. A lot of people don't like raisins. I can tolerate them. I'm kind of used to them. I don't necessarily like them inside of anything, but I just more or less, sometimes I'm just used to seeing them and used to eating them, so they're not going to bother me. They might bother some people, but raisins, you put raisins in something, ain't going to bother. I've had raisins in so many dishes, it doesn't even, you wouldn't believe how many dishes I had that actually had raisins in it. I had stuffing that had raisins in it. I've had so many things with raisins. People just don't. It's like, raisins kill some people. Like, oh, I got raisins. It's like, man, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat these cupcakes. I don't care if they got raisins in them or not. I don't care if the pancakes got raisins. I don't care. I don't care if the cake got raisins. I don't care. I'm going to eat it. I don't care. I'm not necessarily fond of raisins. I'm not going to sit there and eat a whole. When I was a little kid, because they're sweet, you're going to eat them. But then the boxes were only this big. So, of course, you're going to eat a couple of little boxes of raisins. No big deal. Probably is a lot better for you than eating a lot of candies or whatever. But yeah, I don't mind. Raisins and stuff. That's like me and mushrooms too. I love mushrooms though. So, if you put mushrooms in a dish, I don't care. People get mad. Oh, I don't like mushrooms. Cool. That's more for me. Make that sauce with all the mushrooms in it. Hey, take a scoop all the mushrooms out because nobody wants them. Put them on my dish and then cover it with whatever else you got left. Right? I'll kill some mushrooms, man. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Anyway, I'm gonna wait for y'all a little bit longer. Then y'all gonna be without a show, man. Y'all keep playing. Keep playing with Eagle. Oh, I didn't know you was on. I ain't get no notifications. Let me make sure notifications went up. To catch people when they tell me, oh, I ain't getting notification. I'm gonna catch you. Let me catch you. Catch you in the fib. And that might be true too. But it looks like it says I'm live. Okay, let me try something else. Because it may just be acting stupid right now, but let me see. The bell icon. Splitting, yeah, it's out there. Yeah. It's funny because some stuff, some stuff that you pay attention to, it's funny because everybody pays attention to it. Are things that you look at. You know, a lot of times everybody's looking at shit. Sometimes it's good to search through. You know, if you're gonna look at videos, it's good to search through some things that people haven't seen. You know what I mean? It's just that you got to be like kind of. You just got to be crafty. I put it that way. You just got to be crafty and just go look at other stuff. Don't look at something that's it's supposed to be so popular. If it's so popular, don't worry about it. It's just too popular. Then understand that everybody has probably seen it. Yeah. So that's what I do. I try to look. I'm like, how many views? And if you see nothing but positive, you see all thumbs up from the response, then maybe take a look at it. Just because something has 1,000, not 1,000. Sometimes I've seen the highest one that comes to mind, as far as like viewers, was 28 million, and that was a comedian, a celebrity. I'm not gonna mention who it is, but just gonna say it. Well, but this is
there's a 90% chance
one of
your
those
phone is
one of those
already
important one of those important topics. You know, a lot of times that we don't get a chance to talk about. Well, we do get a chance to talk about it, but it never goes anywhere. And I'm just wondering why certain things never go anywhere. It's just funny how things never ever get to go anywhere. Now we don't get anywhere. Have you? You know, it's like beating a dead dog. It's worthless, and I'm just wondering why we can't ever get anywhere. When we try to get somewhere, we're not getting there. We just are not. And we should be. It's not gonna make it. Eventually, we have to change. We gotta change our whole form. You know what I mean? Or the way that we. I don't know, the way we perceive, because what happens is people make a good point. And you'll have some people that love that point. And matter of fact, you might even have people that, you know what, I'm going to use that for learning. I'm going to use that as maybe as a learning tool or a teaching tool. You see what I mean? It could be a teaching tool or it can be a learning tool. But some people, even if something's a good point, they'll take that good point and just totally forget about it. Like that thing, like it never existed. You know? It's like it never existed. So we got to break away, and what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to start taking some of these points in consideration on a bigger level, not just small scale. We're going to have to take it like on a bigger level. We got to do it. And I don't know what today's 10/27. If this is a holiday, or if I'm here on the wrong day, because I could have swore this was this is Wednesday. It says it's Wednesday. I don't know. It's kind of weird that my people didn't show up. And sometimes I'll do a show, and I'm like, shit, I'll do a show to myself. But it's easier for me to, wrap everything up when it's just me. Even though I had a couple of ghosts came in or whatever, some people that can't write, they're at work. They say, yeah, get into the meat, get into the subject. We'll eat. But the reason I put it down the way I have, splitting, is I noticed one of my mods was talking about it and other people are talking about it. But it's like, why is this boxing itself is an event? It's a culture. Everybody hangs their hat. Maybe not everybody. Just listen to what I'm saying. It's general. But you got one of the biggest fights and one of the biggest welcomings, like welcome back home, or when the crowds. I'm put it this way. I'll do two comparisons. So, Joe Louis versus Max Melling, the second one. It seemed like it was so important for that time period that everybody pulled together in this nation, and it didn't matter the color or nothing like that. Everybody just pulled together from this nation. Everybody pulled together, even though it was Joe Louis. And this is a time where the so-called colored, Negro, black, red, brown, whatever color you were, there were places you couldn't go and things you could not do in that time period. And matter of fact, even up past that time period, up until like this. Now, I'm not a historian when it comes to that, but I think it was 60s. And maybe into the 70s. I might be wrong. You guys can let me know if I'm wrong on that. Maybe into the 70s. But I know the events but the whole separatism or separatist idea, when we're involved in any kind of wars or anything like that, then everybody wants to hug, high five, congratulate everybody, and everything tends to be peaceful. It's like, okay, this is what it's intended to be. Right? That's where it intends to be. It intends to be that way only when there's a certain event. Right? There was some political problems in Panama when Sugar Ray Leonard fought Roberto Duran, and Roberto Duran won and took the title back there, and he got a hero's welcome, right? But who's getting a hero's welcome today? And is it something that's connected more when it's a morale issue or a country issue? Is it something that's more important then, and just not important enough for us to worry about all Mexicans going with Mexicans, all whites going with whites, all blacks going with blacks, all natives going with natives? Right? And does that sound appropriate? Does that sound like something? Does that sound like what it is? Because it is what it is, regardless. Yep, it is what it is, regardless. That's what people say. They always say, regardless or whatever. It is what it is. Okay. Is that what you think? Is it is? Is it is? Is it was it was? Whatever. That's the way we look at it. But we have to look at it deeper than that, because it affects people. It affects it affects the community. And I just don't get it, man. This whole thing, I thought this was over with. A lot of times you go to an event and you just get and see, you have to be, I'm not going to say it's blessed, but you have to be real fortunate A lot of times you have to be real fortunate, you know what I mean, to be able to sit down with a group of people that I'm saying that they're nationally mixed, and then have like something that's common, like you come like to a common thought processes, to where you guys are all seeing the same thing. Like, oh yeah, he's really doing a good job. Like even if it's boxing or whatever, or boxing, baseball, basketball, whatever. So, oh, that guy's phenomenal out there. You guys see him? To have that kind of a conversation. Now, once you split and go home, one person's gonna feel one way, one person's gonna feel another way, one person's gonna feel another way. But at that moment, you're like this. But let's say you go home and you still feel the same way, and you just start spreading it. Because you got to go back to the basis of this whole, of the argument or the whole conversation is that, and I'm going to say it in this manner, but this is not necessarily the exact words that somebody would say. But they would just say something like, oh, that's he's a hell of a ball player. Even though he's color, I wonder if we can get him to play for us, even though he's the wrong color. He's just phenomenal, regardless. Those are people that's interested in money, and those are people that's interested in entertainment, and those are people that are interested in the value. They will say stuff like that. And they probably, even if they had a little bit of, bias in them or racism, it's only going to be a small amount. Because a smart person, even if he felt like he might be a little bit racist, a smart person, if they're very intelligent, race don't mean shit when it comes to them getting their money. It's like, I got to get this money. I don't care. I can let that racism shit got to fall by the side. I can go home and say a few things. I don't want to say the wrong thing to them, because then it can kill my organization or what I'm set out to do. Case point. MTM shut down HBO boxing. I don't care. People can say what they want to, but MTM shut their whole boxing program down because of one person, and that was Larry Merchant. And that's, in my opinion, that's what happened. And that same thing can happen, with boxing today or any other sport. The same thing can happen. You get the wrong persons in there, and that's it. I know. So it must have been some kind of disaster out there. So I'm just going to close my show out today. and thank you for those who were able to just listen in a little bit. I wanted to say more, but I wanted to have, this was a dialogue show. This was not for me to just talk. So this was just dialogue right here. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. So, because I'm not having the conversation I need to have. My shout out to all the real people that I see. Where y'all at? And my shout out to all y'all that mess with me. Yeah. Eagles, well, nothing but blessings, I'll be the only one to write something up in here. I'm gonna catch y'all, man.